playing online blackjack and want to try upping your odds? Well, here's a tip. Cheat cards tell you statistics for whether you hit or stand on every move. If you're into stats, this could be your ticket to winning. And it is totally legal. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The Giants are probably going to open up 1-5 on the season. So then you start to say the fans are getting angry. They just want to see Dart. The ownership's like, hey, you know what? Maybe we'd make the right move with Russ here. But then you have self-preservation mode with the general manager and the head coach where it's inevitable. Midway through the season, it's going to have to be Jackson Dart. Otherwise, what are we doing, Giants?
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
It should be illegal for Scottie Scheffler to play on the PGA Tour. This guy can't be stopped. Another victory at the BMW Championship. He has a chip on the 17th, which will go down in the history books. 82 feet, landed 60 feet short, and then rolled the rest of the way. Super exciting win again for Scheffler, who is not only the best golfer in the world, he's becoming one of the best golfers of all time.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
It doesn't matter that they're early in the game, late in the game, they're trailing, they're leading. It doesn't matter, garbage time. CeeDee Lamb is the guy, and we saw that even after Dak got hurt last year and Cooper Rush was under center. Targets were going to CeeDee Lamb. And when you can get 9, 10, 12, 15 targets on a game-by-game basis, he's going to rack up fantasy points every single week. Frankly, he underperformed last year.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
It's time to rise and grind on the early line. It is a glorious Thursday morning. Why is that? Because college football is back in our lives for week number 1. Major League Baseball with an afternoon schedule and also some night games. I'll be in the building tonight at Citizens Bank Ballpark to watch my lowly Philadelphia Phillies, fresh off getting swept by the New York Mets, take on the Atlanta Braves and Cal Quantrill on the mound. It sounds like a good time to be had over the next 2 hours. That's why you have to stay right here on the SportsGrid Network for the early line. Donnie Rightside, Joe Ranieri, 2 hours. Away we go, Joe. The vibes are high today. We're ready to win some money, and we're ready to watch some football.
I am absolutely ready for some football, as Major League Baseball has just been absolutely turned upside down on its head the last couple of days. So, yes, I am ready for some football here, Donnie.
By the way, yesterday in Major League Baseball, my best bet, bye. It wasn't even a handicap. All I said, Joe, is, Kohanowitz is on the mound? Yeah, I don't care about the rest of the game. Tell me how many runs the Texas Rangers put up yesterday on a Kohanowitz start. How about a 20 spot out there in that environment? My goodness, that's all right, Joe. We're a team, 1-1 yesterday. We'll go 2-0 today. It's what we do. Let's get to the hottest topics across the sports landscape. That is our 7-7, and that starts with the Kansas City Chiefs. We were thinking entering into the season, look at this. Rashee Rice is going to play the first 4 or 5 games, then get suspended. The NFL goes, nah, that's not the case. 6-game suspension for Rashee Rice. That's due to impact their first 6 games here, and a wide receiver looking to come back into the fold and do some damage. We're going to have to wait just a little bit longer to see Rashee Rice. 6-game suspension for his off the field shenanigans.
Yeah, let this be a lesson, boys and girls. Do not rent a Lamborghini in Dallas, drive 119 miles an hour, crash the car, and then cause a chain reaction, and then run away from the other victims and on foot and be like, I don't know what happened. Yeah, no, that will land you in a lot of hot water, which is exactly what he did. Good news, though, is the Chiefs knew this was coming, so it's not as if they are blindsided by this.
Oh, young and dumb. We'll make those mistakes here. Maybe Rashee Rice can get back on that football field. Because also remember, coming off an injury, now has the suspension, won't be back for a couple weeks. We'll see how quickly the Chiefs start off because they need all the wide receiver help they can get. They have a pretty good wide receiving core, but with Rice, maybe they can be elite at this point, but he's going to be down for some time. Let's move on. And guys that are getting paid here, showing up to training camp, that's Kyle Hamilton. How about a 4-year, $100 million extension? The highest paid safety in NFL history. He resides in Baltimore.
Seems like yesterday that he was crushing people at Notre Dame and then ends up going to Baltimore. And once they figured out that they move him to safety and put him in the right spot, what a difference maker he is. When you get a talent like this, you lock him up. And that's exactly what the Ravens did.
Something about safeties in Baltimore. I don't know. Guy named Ed Reed played there as well.
Yeah.
So following in his footsteps here, we'll see how it turns out. But Hamilton is a sensational NFL player already. Here's what we talk about, Joe. Sign your really good players that you figure are going to be in your franchise for a long time and be franchise players to contract sooner than later. It will save you some money. Oh, no, he's the highest paid safety in football. Wait about a year. He won't be the highest paid safety. Wait 2 years. He'll probably be in the top 10 at that point. Pay your good players early. It will save you money so you can afford more good players down the line. It makes some sense. You know who else needs some pretty good players on the offensive line? Apparently, the Atlanta Falcons. Michael Penix did not play in the preseason, and maybe for good reason. He can't be protected? I don't know. So many offensive line injuries, which includes Caleb and Gary on IR now. You can't have injuries on your O-line before the season starts. Oh, no, Atlanta. What's going to happen now, Joe?
No, not with a young quarterback in Penix that you're going to have to protect this kid. And obviously, injuries on the offensive line, especially in the right tackle position, not great news for Atlanta or for Penix here. We'll see what the ceiling is for this team if you can't protect your young quarterback.
I always like to say, Joe, it's not Madden football. Okay, they had their injury on the offensive line. Turn those injuries off. The injuries usually keep coming. And that's the worst case scenario to start the season injured on the offensive line, protecting the blind side of a quarterback. Tough scene right now. One of the worst kept secrets in football was Adam Thielen. Like, I want to get out of Carolina. I want to go back to Minnesota. Just took a little bit of time to work out the financial details and also what we were getting back in the trade environment here for the Carolina Panthers. And as you see the report there, Adam Schefter, homecoming. Panthers and Vikings are finalizing a deal for Adam Thielen to return to Minnesota. I like this move for Minnesota. I don't really know about this move for Carolina.
Well, it's a great move for Minnesota because they know and they have been looking for wide receiver help in the market here. Jalen Naylor got injured last week. They also know that Jordan Addison is suspended for the first 3 weeks of the season. So Kevin O'Connell's offense apparently is one of the more complex systems in the NFL. What better than a guy that already knows it, has thrived in it, can just, plug and play when he gets there. And that's exactly what he's going to do.
That guy, by the way, was having some fun in Philadelphia. Like, see some of those DBs in the backfield. Like, who routed you up the most here? Asking those DBs from last year, including some of those really good first-round picks. You know who it was? It was Adam Thielen, showing the boys the business, man. Old man could still run some routes out here. And Cooper DeJean said, man, that old man taught me a lesson a couple plays last year at this point. So watch out for Adam Thielen back in Minnesota. Can only help that lineup. And as Joe pointed out, covering up some guys who won't be there for the first couple games. How about the Bronx Bombers? That's exactly what you should have called them last night. They put up 11 runs against the Nationals. You might say, hey, Donnie, they struck out 12 times. Yeah, they also hit 6 home runs yesterday. Grisham went yard. Rice, Judge, Bellinger, Wells, and McMahon. They showed their strength yesterday. And by the way, another good start for Max Fried in the Bronx, Joe.
Well, that may be the best part of it. Listen, we all knew they could hit home runs, and we all know they can beat up on less than 500 teams, right? So you got to win the games you're supposed to win, and the Yankees are very, very good at that. But it was more impressive to see Max Fried go back-to-back outings now in which he looks like the old Max Fried. That may be the best news for the New York Yankees.
Hint, hint, Yankees go on the road tonight to take on the Chicago White Sox. We might be seeing some runs in that game as well. We'll find out a little bit later. But you know what else we found out yesterday? The Ryder Cup. I love the Ryder Cup. It is amazing. It is nation versus continent, and away we go. And this is going to be at Bethpage. But the captain, Keegan Bradley, he didn't pick himself to play, Joe. We got Scheffler, Spawn, Schauffele, Henley, English, DeChambeau, Thomas, Morikawa, Griffin, Young, Cantlay, and Burns. Team USA ready to attack.
I mean, in one of the more unselfish moves that I think we have ever seen in this day and age with athletes, Donnie. I mean, that the guy should be revered. This is a guy that was on the Ryder Cup team, lost in 2012, has never unpacked his bag from coming back from that Ryder Cup. And he wanted desperately a chance to redeem, and he never got it a couple of years ago. He ended up getting snubbed there by Zach Johnson, the captain. So they made him captain, and he played and deserved to be on this team. Instead, he chose to be the leader instead of a guy on the team to help him win. You don't see this very often anymore.
No, by the way, like, you have a lot of weighty expectations as being the captain of the Ryder Cup. There are so many moving parts and so many, tension moments that you have. You're going to upset guys by not playing them. There's certain spots here. So maybe it was best for him not to play and just focus on winning the Ryder Cup. We'll see how it turns out. U.S. Open tennis action. We had, look at that, Raducanu and Novak Djokovic advanced yesterday. The marathon, that is the U.S. Open, continues to roll on.
Yeah, we had a kind of a shouting match too, and one of the women's matches there. It's getting physical, it's getting exciting, and just let me know again when Sinner and Alcaraz are in the final.
USA. Yeah, it's the U.S. Open here. USA, why? College football tonight. USA next week. We have the NFL and USA. Let's hit the Ryder Cup again, going up against the Europeans. Surely to have some fun with that. Coming up next on the early line.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay. I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Pages. Let's get lucky.
As Borat would say, US&A, US&A. Yes, look at that. United we stand here. The 2025 U.S. Ryder Cup team was announced, captained by Keegan Bradley. Not a lot of surprises there, but let's start here, Joe. When you look at the field that was chosen, we just talked about Keegan Bradley probably could have put himself on there as being a playing captain, but he didn't. He went selfless. Said, you know what, let me add another person. Let me focus all of my energies on getting this team right. Were there any surprises for you amongst the players that were chosen?
Yeah, Keegan Bradley choosing the team over him in what is the most individual sport known to man kind here, Donnie. This is not a team sport. This is not what's better for the team. This is an individual sport, and the guy with such a devastating past associated with the Ryder Cup, this was his chance. He deserved and played well enough to be able to be included into this. Instead, he opted to be the guy controlling it and running it instead of playing in it, and you just don't see that. But I listen, he went with all experienced guys. I think there's only a handful of guys that are playing in their first Ryder Cup. Everybody else in here has had a ton of experience, including JT, who will be there. There's a lot of experience here. Now, whether they get it done against the Europeans, I mean, they've had experience the last couple of goes around. They can't seem to figure out how to beat this European team lately. So I think experience matters at Bethpage Black, and he certainly has a ton of it on this team.
Like, I love to watch the Masters. Like, I'm a big majors guy. I tune into all four of those, no doubt about it. But I love the Ryder Cup. Sometimes just a shame where the Ryder Cup comes in September, where it's right in the middle of football season. But when you watch this, like, the pageantry that's on display, like, you just saw a guy like Tommy Fleetwood, people cheering for him, like, it's good, Tommy won again. Tommy shows up at Bethpage Black and misses a 3-foot putt to win a hole. The crowd explodes, cheers, and jeers him as he walks off of the green here at that point. That's what's fantastic. If we do look at the betting market, though, Team USA, FanDuel, I'm just looking, minus 135 price as the favorite. Europe at a plus 140. A tie is at 12-1. You take a look at the top USA points getters here. Scotty Scheffler, no surprise, at a plus 310 price. He should shine in this tournament. The Americans are favored, Joe, to win this.
Well, they should be. I mean, you gotta think you got the world's number one. You've got major winners all over. JJ Spawn, who's been playing out of his mind. You know, a DeChambeau was already committed. You know, he had said months ago, "Don't worry, DeChambeau is playing. We need him at Bethpage Black. We need him on this team." Again, the only guys that don't have any experience are Ben Griffin, who had a career year this year. Cameron Young may be playing the best golf of his life over the last couple of months, but he's got no Ryder Cup experience. Neither does Russell Henley, but how many more times do we have to see him, compete and win tournaments? And then Spawn's the Open winner, the U.S. Open winner. Even though he's never been on a Ryder Cup, you're not leaving him off. So they are locked and loaded for a Bethpage Black course that may be one of the more difficult that they've been at over the last couple of Ryder Cups.
Passion, that's what you're going to see here. They just played 3 straight tournaments, have been absolutely nothing but padding their bankroll here at this point. Now you're going to see the Ryder Cup. The passion will come out. They're not playing for hundreds of millions of dollars. If you win the Ryder Cup, you only get $20 million splashed into your account, or $10 million, whatever it is. You are playing for pride, and this is something that's going to be exciting to watch, and there's no better stage than Bethpage Black right there on Long Island, ready to kick some butt and get after it. I can't wait for it to come up. Couple more weeks we have to wait, but the team is set for Team USA. Teams being set around the NFL, which includes the Minnesota Vikings. An Adam Schefter tweet yesterday, Joe, homecoming. Panthers and Vikings are finalizing a trade for Adam Thielen to return to Minnesota. The trade details: the Vikings get Thielen, a conditional 2026 7th-round pick and a 2027 5th-round pick, and the Panthers get some pick swaps back there. Thielen starred for the Vikings 2013 to 2022. Now he returns, and he's excited. By the way, took a little pay cut to come back home as well, Joe.
Yeah, he did. And again, it's a win situation for Minnesota that, again, you're not just rolling in and getting a grip on Kevin O'Connell's offense. It's one of the more intricate offenses, and everyone will tell you. So there is a learning curve, but there won't be with Thielen because he's plug and play. I mean, the guy's already been in it, understands it, knows the guys, really good friends with Jefferson. So it's a win-win. For the Panthers, though, that leaves them with all, rookie and second-year guys. Xavier Legette, Jalen Coker in their second year. They're going to be your go-to. McMillan is the rookie. Well, there you go. A lot of young receivers now for Carolina and Bryce Young.
Yep, there you go. It's the way it is, and it looks like that's going to help that core. And also J.J. McCarthy, young quarterback trying to find his way, get a veteran guy that can route you up out there. Certainly makes some sense. He's not going to be routing anybody up. That is Rashee Rice, 6-game suspension for violating the NFL's personal conduct policy here. He's going to come back in week number 7. I actually like, if I'm a player, Joe, I like this better. don't bring me in for 3 to 4 games, suspend me for 6, and have me come back. Just let me know when my season is going to start, and the team itself. The NFL did that. He will be out multiple weeks to start the season and then ramp up his activities, and away you go after week number 7.
Yeah, listen, I mean, he is lucky. Let's be realistic here. This could have been just a total tragedy here, which we would never see Rashid Rice on a football field again. Now, he's lucky to have another shot at this. All right. He's not going to get another one. So hopefully he grows up and doesn't have to deal with this kind of thing anymore. But the reality is the Chiefs have been planning for this. They knew something was coming. And in all likelihood, yeah, they're okay. They can make it through the first 6 games without him. They would much rather have him in November anyway, as opposed to September. So I think the Chiefs are in good position here.
You know what else is a good position here to play? It's apparently safety in the NFL. Kyle Hamilton, $100 million extension, which includes $82 million guaranteed. You know what the previous high for that was? $45 million. My goodness, he broke the bank, and I guess you can say deservedly so here, Joe.
Somewhere Ronnie Lott's like, man, did I play in the wrong era? My goodness, $100 million for a safety. But you know what? Hall of Fame potential safety. Somebody you build a defense around. Ed Reed style with Baltimore. Love the signing. Lock him up.
This team is loaded for bear. No contract worries there in Baltimore. They got people signed. They got MVP performances on the horizon, possibly from their all-world quarterback. And do they finally get over the hump and at least get to a Super Bowl this year? Let's talk some college football. We're kicking off today on a Thursday. It's the early line, and we're hot as ever. Come on back with us.
This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay. I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
The Pirates use that thing, Joe. It's like once every 15 years, we'll hope for the perfect storm with lightning in a bottle, then we'll try to rebuild it again. Enough, man. In this day and age, with the prospects that you can certainly have by stinking every year and top-flight talent like you see in Paul Skeens, it's just a shame, and it gets on my nerves. Like, for me, being a Phillies fan, I think it's hilarious. Like, I never want Pittsburgh to be good. Why? Not because it's a rivalry. It's just a team you don't have to worry about in the playoffs, and your team can make the playoffs.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Paige Beckers. She does it night in, night out. She's been absolutely fantastic for a Dallas Wings team that really isn't going anywhere. We'll see what happens in regards to where they're going to end up in the WNBA draft, because obviously, if they win it, they're probably looking at her buddy, AZ Fudd, to be drafted next year.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Are you ready for some football? It's week number 1. The appetizer's out of the way. You like shrimp cocktail? Yeah, I do too. But you know what I like better? The steak, the main course, and that's what you're getting this weekend, Joe. Thursday, tonight, we have action. Friday, we have action. Saturday, we have action. Sunday, we have action. And Monday, You got Bill Belichick on Monday Night Football in college football. It doesn't get any better than this. And as we kick off the season, Joe, looking at the AP poll, the top 25, which obviously is subject to change, we don't think all of these teams are going to finish in this exact order by the time we get to December. But number 1 on that list is Texas. Number 2 is Penn State. 3 is Ohio State. 4 is Clemson. 5 is Georgia. And away we go, Joe.
Yep, gotta love it. It is off and running. Got a little appetizer with that week 0, but this weekend, again, we talked about it yesterday, Donnie. I am not sure that we have ever seen 3 games involving top 10 teams in week 1 of the college football season ever. I mean, this is what it is all about. They are not easing into the season in any way, shape, or form here, these teams.
Nope. Take a look at Texas, plus 550 to win it all. Georgia at a plus 650 price. Ohio State 7-1. Penn State 7-1. And you see those numbers on the graphic. They are changing just about on an hour-to-hour basis, flipping 50 cents here, 50 cents there, and going back. Those numbers certainly will change once we see Texas and Ohio State play and really get a gauge on which team should be the number 1 team in the country. But we do have football tonight, Joe. Boise State and South Florida. I like this game because it adds intrigue. We know Boise State, that premier program outside of those power conferences here. They showed up in the college football playoff last year, got beat up by Penn State, but that was expected. They had one of the all-time running backs that you're ever going to see in college football, but he's graduated and moved on. Maybe a new look offense for Boise State and also South Florida. They got an athletic quarterback coming back into the fold that's ready to start his season healthy. You got intrigued tonight with a top 25 Boise State team.
And you've got nothing but money coming in on the home dog since this thing opened up nearly double digits here over the summer. Hilarious, though. I mean, when you consider Boise State is a blue blood, I can't believe I'm saying it, but it is because only Alabama and Ohio State have won more games since 2003 in college football. Think about that for a minute. They are in the same company of winning football games like Bama and Ohio State. That is a factory. People, and they've got some rebuilding to do here. They've got a first-time play caller now, as Dirk Cutter, who was the offensive coordinator a year ago, is gone. They do return their quarterback, who's got some experience, but they got new pieces on the offensive line. They got new receivers, and of course, a new running game, and they're not as good defensively as they were a year ago. Meanwhile, South Florida, you mentioned the quarterback. You mentioned nobody more dynamic to him, but they also upgraded their defense in a big, big way. It's a blackout game in Tampa here. Kickoff time temperatures going to feel like 100 on the field there, Donnie. Don't think the boys in Boise have any idea what 100 degrees feels like in September, but they are going to. I like South Florida. I like them in a big way here.
South Florida down there. By the way, the coach of South Florida, very good head coach. But you know who else is
great
around South Florida? Yeah, who else? There's another ex-USF coach getting in himself some trouble. Jim Leavitt has made the news. Maybe he was too fired up for the season to start here. That guy, by the way, there were stories when he was at USF, and that program was just building. But something was completely off at that point, and you're starting to find out why it was off. It was the head coach that was certainly off of his rocker. But this game should have some interesting notes. Byron Brown, who I really like, and sometimes, Joe, which I went with in the opener when you watched overseas, where it was the two teams, Kansas State and Iowa State. You had a really good runner in Avery Johnson. So, on game number 1s, when things break down, those guys tend to take off a little bit more in game number 1. Byron Brown, to score a touchdown, Joe, plus 100 price tonight. I think he scores. I think he'll be active and animated after only playing in 4 games last year. That's where I'm going. But you're right about this. We usually know what we get out of Boise State. We don't know what we're getting out of Boise State, except for top 25 blue blood. Oh, yeah, this is what they do. It's almost like the Gonzaga effect. I don't really know the players on a year-to-year basis on Gonzaga, but the one thing I do know is Mark Few's going to have that program going. Maybe it's just with Boise State. They need this victory, but look at that. 5.5 number here coming in at most outlets now as the favorite for Boise State.
Yep, I like it. I mean, Boise State loves to blitz. That's what they do. But I can promise you this: you blitz Byram here, he's going to make you pay. He's going to make you pay with his arm. He's going to make you pay with his legs. And the second half, Donnie, I'll be looking for another bet here on South Florida. Those legs are going to get a little heavy in 95, 100-degree humidity.
You know what I love about this, too? Boise State, South Florida. 8 o'clock game, 9 o'clock game, national. No, people. It's a 5:30 game. You're going to come home from work. You're going to get a dinner. You're going to maybe get a brew or two and sit back and relax and watch yourself some week 1 college action, which we got a lot more to preview. Ohio, Rutgers, next. Yes, sir.
This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay. I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
The Pirates use that thing, Joe. It's like once every 15 years, we'll hope for the perfect storm with lightning in a bottle, then we'll try to rebuild it again. Enough, man. In this day and age, with the prospects that you can certainly have by stinking every year and top-flight talent like you see in Paul Skeens, it's just a shame, and it gets on my nerves. Like, for me, being a Phillies fan, I think it's hilarious. Like, I never want Pittsburgh to be good. Why? Not because it's a rivalry. It's just a team you don't have to worry about in the playoffs, and your team can make the playoffs.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Paige Beckers. She does it night in, night out. She's been absolutely fantastic for a Dallas Wings team that really isn't going anywhere. We'll see what happens in regards to where they're going to end up in the WNBA draft, because obviously, if they win it, they're probably looking at her buddy, AZ Fudd, to be drafted next year.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Oh, we're going to have some fun in week number 1. Just previewed a game down at USF, which are going to take on Boise State at 5:30 tonight. Should be some energy, should be some touchdowns from the quarterback position, and maybe a higher scoring game. At least that's what we expect. But also, you are going to get some upsets in week number 1 of the college football season. Just taking a look at a Fox poll right now. Most likely ranked upset here. Syracuse at Tennessee, Alabama at Florida State, Virginia Tech at South Carolina, Boise State, which is tonight, against South Florida. If you look at those 4 teams, Joe, is it really the most likely upset could be the South Florida Bulls? I don't think Tennessee gets beat. I don't think South Carolina gets beat. I certainly don't think Alabama gets beat at Florida State. It must be Boise State and USF, Joe.
I'm with you. That's exactly it. Take the points, put it, sprinkle it on the money line here. I think South Florida at home getting, and the market agrees. I mean, this thing opened up over the summer at nearly double digits and has been a steady stream of South Florida money ever since. I mean, we're even down to 5 in some spots here this morning, Donnie. So the money is coming in on the home dog, and I don't see that in those other spots there where the money is rolling in towards the dog like it is South Florida right now.
Some people like a good dog there to bet on. We'll see if it provides that. And also, we haven't seen these guys play. Like, there's a lot of options on Boise State that have to provide themselves. And same thing with Brown coming back to quarterback for USF. Let's take a look at some other games on the landscape. And that does include tonight Ohio and Rutgers from the great state of New Jersey. A 6 o'clock kickoff. Ohio opened up getting 10.5 points, Joe. We see it multiple outlets now. 15.5 points the Ohio Bobcats are getting here. Rutgers, 10.5 point spread again to 15.5. Come on now. What's Rutgers got tonight, Joe? A big-time cover? Can they cover the 2 touchdown plus?
Well, I mean, you've got last year's MAC champion, right? That would be Ohio, coming off of, I believe, 3 straight 10-win seasons here. They've won more games in the last 3 years than any other team in the MAC conference. The problem is that was Tim Albin's teams there. He is now the head coach over at Charlotte, which means they got a new head coach, but he has been on the staff since the early 2020. So he's a guy that's very familiar. He gets a returning quarterback, gets a returning running back. They've got some nice pieces on the outside. So this is a team where this is one of the best MAC teams, and it has been for a while. But Rutgers is also returning a quarterback, plus all 5 starters on the offensive line.
You gotta like that.
And Schiano, even though they got a new DC there and only 2 returning starters on the defensive side of the ball, nobody knows defense better than Schiano. So I think they will be just fine. Wouldn't shock me if this is more competitive than people think. But ultimately, I think too much experience, too much Big Ten style, too much ground and pound here. I think Rutgers wins and probably wins going away late in this game.
Yeah, we'll see what happens here with Kelly Ekmanis at quarterback here. That's the Rutgers starter. He's been around the block. You used to see him in Minnesota, now obviously at Rutgers here. A lot of starts under his belt. But Parker Navarro, the starting quarterback for the Ohio Bobcats, look at his last, and I understand it's the MAC, and I understand it's a bowl game against Jacksonville State. But look at his rushing numbers, Joe. November the 13th last year, 13 for 106 and 4 touchdowns. He's a quarterback. You take a look at the Toledo game, 18 for 104 and 2 scores. You take a look at the Ball State game, 11 carries for 110 yards and 2 scores. Then you take a look at the Miami of Ohio game, which they play good defense, 13 for 67, but still 2 touchdowns. Then, Joe, he went to the bowl game versus Jacksonville State, 15 for 111 and 3 touchdowns. I mean, I know it's the MAC football. It doesn't get a lot of spotlight, but this kid can play, man.
Listen, I mean, you get a returning guys like this. It's been one of the best programs there. There is nothing to be ashamed about. The problem is that, they're going to be relying on transfers from Arkansas or Pine Bluff to be able to make some big plays for them. The portal for Ohio is not like the portal for Rutgers, any which way we cut it. Plus, Schiano's a guy that loves to keep his foot on the gas and beat up teams he knows he can beat. It wouldn't shock me in the second half if they just pedal to the metal and run away with it.
13 touchdowns on the ground for the quarterback over the final 5 games of the season last year. We'll see if he can bring that. But you're right. You're stepping up in competition. You're playing a Big Ten defense, and Greg Schiano is a defensive mind. So we'll see if that provides it. But that should be a good one. 51.5 is the total. 15.5 is the spread. That's a 6 o'clock game from Rutgers here in New Jersey. Let's go down to North Carolina. Maybe Battle of North Carolina tonight. East Carolina taking on NC State. This line, Joe, opened up as an 11.5-point favorite towards NC State. It's growing. You'll see the graphic about to pop up at a minus 13.5, but a lot of outlets now showing 14 points as a favorite towards NC State. Total in this game also opened up at 57.5. You see the graphic. It's up to 60.5, and other outlets also showing highs of 61. Looks like people are betting the favorite and the total in this game, Joe, in the Battle of the Carolinas.
Well, Dave Doran, the head coach of NC State, he's 11-1 in openers while at NC State. He is one of the better coaches in the country. Been there a while, one of the most respected guys. And yes, he doesn't exactly, set himself up to take on the Clemsons of the world early in the season, but he handles business. His teams handle business. Keep in mind, though, there's a couple of guys that won't be available early in this game because they both got ejected in the Military Bowl last year at the end of the season. And one of them is a huge, huge factor on the defensive side of the ball, the defensive line for North Carolina State. So we'll see if East Carolina can take advantage. He'll be available for the second half, but not for the first half. But NC State in these spots has been money.
Not much on this. And the MAC opponent here at home, Wyoming and Akron, that's an 8.5-point line at the opening number, dropped to 5.5. Total was 50.5, Joe. That drops down to 47.5. We can skip that one, not spend too much time, because you got 2 9 o'clock games tonight, which are intriguing, Joe. Nebraska and Cincinnati. This game opens up there as a 6.5-point favorite towards Nebraska. Still sits at 6.5, but a total 51.5. That's Raiola going up against Cincinnati. Neutral site, but that neutral site, I believe, is in Kansas City tonight. Nebraska and Cincinnati.
Yeah, keep in mind, Nebraska and has lost, I believe, 4 of their last 5 opening games of the season, and they're 1-4 against the number over the last 4 seasons as a road favorite. Now, this isn't in Cincinnati, right? This is at Arrowhead, so it is kind of a neutral place for both teams. But both of these teams, I mean, listen, we talked about it. Raiola, Nebraska, Matt Rule, he's done this at Baylor. He's done it at Rutgers. He takes over these fledgling programs, and by year 3, Donnie, that's the jump for them. So this is year 3 for him. But you know what? Cincinnati is much improved, too, as well. I think both these teams got a lot going for them this year. I think this is I would take the points because I don't think there's this much separating these two teams. A touchdown? I don't think so. I would take the points with Cincinnati.
Patrick Mahomes Jr. out there, quarterback here in Raiola from Nebraska. We'll see how he fares in the opening game of his 2025 season. But how about this? Miami of Ohio, another MAC team going to play tonight, taking on Wisconsin. The Dairy Raid. Yeah, it was cute. It didn't work out at all. How about ground and pound with the big uglies up front? That's what Wisconsin's looking to get back to, Joe. They're a 17.5-point favorite, and that total was 39.5 yesterday, bumped up to 40.5 today.
Yeah, Chuck Martin, right? I mean, let's face it, man. He's one of the better group of 5 coaches, right?
Yep.
I mean, he did lose a ton from a year ago here. So he doesn't have a ton of returning production, but he does get some of the best transfers in the group of 5 come to play for him here. So we got a new quarterback in DeQuan Finn. I think it's going to be interesting. Ultimately, probably going to be too much Wisconsin there for them to handle to start the season.
By the way, just because not really breaking this game down and loving it here, DeQuan Finn, he's from the MAC, correct? And he's Wisconsin's quarterback, you're saying?
Yes, and DeQuan Finn actually transferred out, went to Baylor, played a couple of games, got hurt, and then came back there. So now
that name.
He's with Chucky Martin here.
By the way, 24 years old as well, been around the block. That's not an 18-year-old getting his first little spotlight action there for DeQuan Finn. We'll see how it turns out. Let's get back over to Major League Baseball. The Bronx Bombers were bombing away. Let's recap it next.
Playing online blackjack and want to try upping your odds? Well, here's a tip. Cheat cards tell you statistics for whether you hit or stand on every move. If you're into stats, this could be your ticket to winning. And it is totally legal. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The Pirates use that thing, Joe. It's like once every 15 years, we'll hope for the perfect storm with lightning in a bottle, then we'll try to rebuild it again. Enough, man. In this day and age, with the prospects that you can certainly have by stinking every year and top-flight talent like you see in Paul Skeens, it's just a shame, and it gets on my nerves. Like, for me, being a Phillies fan, I think it's hilarious. Like, I never want Pittsburgh to be good. Why? Not because it's a rivalry. It's just a team you don't have to worry about in the playoffs, and your team can make the playoffs.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
The NFL has ruined the concept of trade requests. It's not real. It's just a negotiating tactic. I'd appreciate reporters changing the language, because in the NBA, when a player requests a trade, they get dealt. In the NFL, nobody actually thinks it matters. If Jacoby Myers is going to buck that trend, and if Jacoby Myers is going to get traded, we'll see where he goes.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Hopefully starting in 2027, where I think the schedule could just completely get blown up, which would be so exciting for the fans, the players. So there's interesting things that I've heard that that would be like one of the first things that could say that people are talking about, and that things could really get changed up a little bit.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Oh, the Bronx Bombers are back, and in a big way. Sometimes all it takes is maybe the Washington Nationals to come to town. You put up some runs, you have some fun, you win some games. Your starting pitcher, your aces start to pitch better, and your team starts to crack the baseball, which means baseball is landing into the seats. 6 home runs yesterday by the New York Yankees, which included one by Aaron Judge in an 11-2 victory that saw the Yankees knock out 13 hits in that game. The boys are back in town, and the Bombers are ready to go.
Yeah, and again, Max Fried showing up for the second consecutive start last week against the Red Sox and now against the Nats is encouraging, especially given the fact that I believe that third inning of the Yankees lasted almost 50 minutes, Donnie. So imagine being Fried, watching your team. Like, he can't get back out. He's got to wait 50 minutes in between pitches there, and didn't matter. He was still very, very good, very Max Fried-like. I think that is a great, and I mean great news for the Yankees there. Fried has regained some form. That's exactly what they needed here at the top of that rotation.
And by the way, Joe, we take a look at, everything through the landscape of handicapping and how things turn out. We've been talking about the MVP race a lot of the season on, okay, Aaron Judge probably going to run away with it. Whoa, here comes Cal Raleigh. But the talking points that we have are, it just seems like we're in a holding pattern. Like, Raleigh can hit a home run, play good baseball. He gains a little bit of an advantage over Aaron Judge. But we're always saying, you just want to see Aaron Judge get started. He hit a home run last night. The Yankees won easy. It's no longer a neck-and-neck race now. It's minus 150 for Aaron Judge. I always felt, Joe, in the marketplace, we were just waiting for Aaron Judge to have like 3 days and 2 home runs and the Yankees win, and they'll put that MVP to sleep. So you see Judge hit the home run yesterday in a victory, and Aaron Judge goes to a minus 150 favorite now to win the AL MVP.
Yeah, it's going to be like that for the rest of the way, Donnie, isn't it? It's going to be a battle here now, because as Judge goes, the Yankees go. So if the Yankees continue to be the Bronx Bombers and live up to that name with Judge being the face of it, yeah, that number is going to continue to grow, Donnie, considering where it started this year and where we are right now. It's kind of crazy.
You know what else is kind of crazy? The San Francisco Giants plating 12 runs, one more than the New York Yankees got yesterday in a 12-3 victory over the Chicago Cubs. The Cubs plated 3 runs in the second inning off Whisenhunt. Like, okay, the Cubs are finally back on offense. They didn't score the rest of the way. And then you saw San Francisco score 3 times in the bottom of the third, 3 times in the bottom of the fifth, 3 times in the bottom of the sixth, and then just tacking on in the 7th and 8th innings. 13 hits for the Giants offense, 12 runs scored. Colin Ray, not a great pitcher. 4 2/3 innings pitched, 8 hits, 6 earned runs. The Cubbies get smoked in San Francisco.
Yeah, but Colin Ray has actually pitched very well over the last month or so here. He hasn't given up more than 2 earned runs, I think, in any one particular start. And you got the rookie Whisenhunt that had been called up a couple of days earlier again from AAA. And this Cubs lineup again, where'd they go? I mean, my goodness here. You got Colin Ray, 4 straight starts without giving up 2 or more runs. And you got a kid that's being called up again, gives up the 3-run homer to Hunter, right? And all of a sudden things are looking great, except they keep pitching to Rafael Devers, and Rafael Devers continues to make them pay. And so did everyone else. So all of a sudden the bats of San Francisco have come alive here all of a sudden in this series.
Yeah, and the Philadelphia Phillies were probably going to knock the Mets out of the playoffs and possibly for any chance of any hope of winning the NL East. The Phillies blew 2 leads in the first 2 games, lost both of those, and got absolutely piped yesterday, 6-0. McClain's on the mound, 8 innings pitched, 4 hits, no earned runs. Sometimes you see a Phillies horrible game coming from a long way. I love the Mets yesterday. I love the Mets team total. They win 6-0, and now they have life. They should be in a casket 6 feet under the ground, and now they're like the Undertaker. Pop the casket open, boom, sit back up, and here we are, the New York Mets.
Yeah, this kid Nolan McClain, right? Pretty impressive, Donnie, what he's been able to do against this, especially against this Phillies team here. But they did exactly what they needed to do. They're now 7-2 against the Phillies this year, the Mets. That's a good news, right? They can't seem to beat the Braves, but the Phillies, they got down pat here. They do have a 4-game series in Philly in the end of the first week in September, I believe the 8th through the 11th. So, but really, they keep winning, the Reds keep losing, and the Mets, well, they've got some breathing room here.
Another game I liked yesterday, we talked about, coming back into the lineup and seeing how I was going to pitch. That was Simeon Woods Richardson after having a parasite removed from his intestines here. Well, maybe that parasite's still eating him up, because yesterday the Twins getting damaged up. They scored 8 runs and still lost, but Toronto with the 9 runs. Woods Richardson, 3 2/3 innings pitched, 5 earned runs giving up. The bats came out to play on both sides yesterday. You take a look at, let me see here. It was the Blue Jays, 3 of 11 with runners in scoring position, 2 of 8 for the Twins, but still a 9-8 final. Toronto wins. They need that to stay up top of that AL East.
Yeah, I mean, this is just another one of those games that was absolutely crazy here, because they had a distinct pitching advantage, that being Toronto. And Lauer gave up 10 hits, 6 runs, didn't walk anybody, struck out 4. But you got to be kidding me here. I mean, the Blue Jays didn't lead in this game, Donnie, until they won it. That was when they ended up having the lead here. So the Twins bullpen ends up letting them down, and we're worried about the Toronto bullpen when the Toronto bullpen had just enough gas left in the tank to hold off Minnesota in that game. But my goodness, good win for Toronto, but Minnesota, whoo, that's awful.
I love focusing on Minnesota because Minnesota can hit at the plate. They have no starting pitching and a horrendous bullpen. It's like the perfect cocktail combination for an explosion of runs, and you got that yesterday. How about the M's out on the West Coast going up against the Padres? Padres looking to chase down the Dodgers. Mariners looking to stay there with the Houston Astros. A 4-3 victory yesterday, which saw our guy Wu, 5 2/3 innings pitched, 2 earned runs. Yu Darvish got hit early, 4 innings pitched, 4 earned runs. That's all Seattle needed to get that 1-run win over the Padres yesterday in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, and it was basically Suarez's 3-run homer of Darvish that did it for the Mariners. That was it. That was enough to be able to get them up and over. We were wondering, were we going to get an under finally in that series? And yep, the last game proved to be an under.
By the way, Eugenio Suarez, that big trade at the deadline, goes from the National League to the American League. Like, he's still putting up like some RBIs and home runs time to time. He's hitting 189 since getting to Seattle here. Wake up, Eugenio. He actually did yesterday with a couple RBI as well to help in that victory. We'll be right back. More Hot Topics on the way.
Playing online blackjack and want to try upping your odds? Well, here's a tip. Cheat cards tell you statistics for whether you hit or stand on every move. If you're into stats, this could be your ticket to winning. And it is totally legal. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The Pirates use that thing, Joe. It's like once every 15 years, we'll hope for the perfect storm with lightning in a bottle, then we'll try to rebuild it again. Enough, man. In this day and age, with the prospects that you can certainly have by stinking every year and top-flight talent like you see in Paul Skeens, it's just a shame, and it gets on my nerves. Like, for me, being a Phillies fan, I think it's hilarious. Like, I never want Pittsburgh to be good. Why? Not because it's a rivalry. It's just a team you don't have to worry about in the playoffs, and your team can make the playoffs.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
The NFL has ruined the concept of trade requests. It's not real. It's just a negotiating tactic. I'd appreciate reporters changing the language, because in the NBA, when a player requests a trade, they get dealt. In the NFL, nobody actually thinks it matters. If Jacoby Myers is going to buck that trend, and if Jacoby Myers is going to get traded, we'll see where he goes.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Hopefully starting in 2027, where I think the schedule could just completely get blown up, which would be so exciting for the fans, the players. So there's interesting things that I've heard that that would be like one of the first things that could say that people are talking about, and that things could really get changed up a little bit.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
And down the stretch they come. We're almost to Labor Day. Labor Day means that the start of September and football season, and roughly 1 month left of the Major League Baseball season. Let's take a look at the AL playoff picture, particularly from the top of the standings. If you look at the AL East, it's the Toronto Blue Jays with a 4-game lead over the Boston Red Sox and a 4.5-game lead over the New York Yankees. In the Central Division, it's the Detroit Tigers, who... What a Jekyll and Hyde team. They've now lost 4 games in a row, and that lead is down to 8.5 again. They'll still win that division, but certainly not comfortably running away with it 13, 14, 15 games. Then we have the Houston Astros. Not playing great baseball, neither are the Seattle Mariners over the past 10 games, but the Astros still currently hold a 1.5-game lead. So of the teams in first place, Jays, Tigers, and Astros. For you, Joe Ranieri, who do you trust more?
To me, it's the Astros, unfortunately, until we see otherwise here, because they may be lulling people and faking people here. But the Astros, it's kind of hard. They've been there, done that. They got Yordan Alvarez back. It'll take him a few to get back assimilated. But when he does, that's a different lineup, Donnie. He is a guy that is a game changer, and hopefully they get a little healthier in that bullpen by the time we get to the middle of September into the postseason. And I think the Astros will be just fine.
The Astros, again, the pedigree is there for the Stros. We get that. I just need to see a little bit more hitting here. Yordan Alvarez back into that lineup. Maybe he's going to assimilate sooner than later, and things should happen. But I am looking forward to, if I have one race, then let me see in the American League, it really is Houston versus Seattle. I don't think the Toronto Blue Jays are going to give up that 4.5 game lead. I mean, they could, and the Yankees could play good baseball, the Red Sox, but I just see them being the team that wins it. Same thing with the Detroit Tigers. No real pushback there. The Houston Astros, Seattle Mariners, a lot of fun to watch. And those price points there, the Tigers at a plus 290 price to win the pennant in the American League. The Blue Jays plus 390, the Yankees at a plus 430 price, and away we go. If we look at the NL pennant odds here to have some fun with that, first place, Philadelphia Phillies, only 4 games now. They could have wrapped it up with the Mets. They lost 3 straight games. The Mets win 3 straight games. That's how you get that action now back into the fold in the month of September. The Milwaukee Brewers, they are a 6.5-game lead over the Chicago Cubs right now. And the Los Angeles Dodgers have now increased after a 4-game win streak for them, coinciding with a loss last night for the Padres. They now lead the Padres by 2 games. Trust levels, Joe. Phillies, Brewers, and Dodgers at the top of the standings here.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much what you're going to get, right, Donnie? I mean, that makes total sense. They should be the 3 favorites. The wild card, to me, will be the Mets and the Padres. Outside of that, I think that's it. I think that's what you got. The Cubs are just a hot mess. You want to talk about a team that probably peaked too early this year? That would be the Chicago Cubs. And we see it every year, Donnie, with a couple of teams that look so good in the first half and then go MIA in the second, and that appears where the Cubs are heading.
Yeah, take a look at the pennant winners here. The odds to win it, the Los Angeles Dodgers plus 175 price. The Brewers have now jumped ahead of the Philadelphia Phillies at a 4-1 price. The Phillies at a 5-1 price, followed by the Padres plus 550, and the Mets at a 7-1 price. Sometimes it only matters, Joe, right? How do you end the season? Who's going to be hot at the right time? Are you playing great baseball in the last week of September to ride that hot streak, or are your bats going to go absolutely ice cold at the worst possible moment? And that's what will lead up to it, because the World Series price points here, they're always going to be the Dodgers at a plus 300 price. And look at the closest competitors here. The Brewers at an 8-1 price. And also you take a look at the Philadelphia Phillies at a 9-1 price. It's amazing here how high the Dodgers are. And also, how about 3 teams in the National League we see before we even get an American League team there?
Yeah, I mean, it's all National League, isn't it? And deservedly so, Donnie. I think the top 3 teams in the National League, you compare them to the top 3 teams in the American League, way more holes and questions on the American League side than the National League. And now that you've got Ohtani going 5 innings and actually winning games and being the pitcher of record, yeah, things are looking better for the Dodgers.
And you look at the MVP race here. Ohtani was very good on the mound yesterday. Still sits at a minus 10,000 favorite over Kyle Schwarber at a 16-1 price, and Manny Machado at a 100-1 price. Outside of a devastating injury for Shohei Ohtani, he will be your MVP there. And as we talked about, that American League pennant, the standings there, maybe it comes down the stretch. Can the Yankees overtake the Toronto Blue Jays? But right now, Cal Raleigh's in second place in that race at a plus 110 price, Joe, and Aaron Judge at a minus 150. Judge hits a home run, Yankees win, his number gets bigger. That's probably what we can anticipate the rest of the way.
Yeah, it's look for that to increase, Donnie. I think as we get a little bit closer to the end of the regular season.
It's funny how the pendulum switches, right? Minus 20,000 on Aaron Judge. Then he was plus money. Now he's minus 150. How long before he gets back up to minus 20,000? We'll find out. But hour number 2 is on the way next. The hottest topics, breakdowns, everything you need to set the stage for your SportsGrid day. We got it on the early line.